You are listening to the Community Sports Show on FM 98.5 CKWR. I'm James Porto, and with me I've got Darren Stevenson, who's, I don't know, kind of like the new host of the show. You've been here just as much as the hosts have been. Recently, more than for.
I got to tell you, it's a lot of fun coming in here every Friday at 12:45 doing this sports show, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I'll tell you that. And today we're doing something a little bit unique too. I've decided to go live on Instagram.
That's right.
Right. So you can see video of the radio program as well.
Yeah. So where do they have to follow for that? I'm new to that. I just picked up Instagram on my phone. I still don't know what I'm doing.
How's that going?
What's that? Oh, it's good. I just tweeted a picture of us. So as long as your face is in it too, it's a pretty picture. You can't just do me, otherwise they'll be like, nah.
You haven't liked one of my photos yet. Have you figured out how to like a photo on Instagram?
A photo? No.
Yes, Instagram is a photo medium.
I always like because your things go to Twitter, so I like those things.
Right.
Oh, you know what? I do know how. I just don't like any of your photos.
Oh,
that's why. They're
good.
terrible. That's why.
Thank you for your support of 519 Sports Online.
No, I didn't know you can like photos.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's my thing for today.
Good. No, and we're doing the Instagram video live today, so go to Darren Stevenson _TV, and you can see us here in studio chatting away. If you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot us a message on Instagram as well, and we'll try to answer some local sports questions today. Something a little bit different, but it's all about local sports, and it's all about promoting our athletes and celebrating our teams. And 519 Sports has certainly been a great ride the last couple of months, and I'm really proud and excited to see where it can go, James.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. You know what? I should mention, we have this gorgeous woman in the room with us. Hasn't been in here before with us.
Is this her first radio show?
I think this is... Oh, have you been before?
Not this show.
Not this show.
Not this show.
So I run a French show on Sundays as well.
Okay.
She's been on that as well.
Nice.
But yeah, so it's actually my beautiful wife who's here with us. And,
welcome.
So
she's blushing right now. You've made her blush, even though you can't see it on the radio, but she is blushing.
She told me on the way in that she actually wants to be the host of the show, so she wants her voice on here as much as possible.
That's great. That's great.
Anyway,
we got a lot going on, James, and it's like that. You'd think it would slow down a little bit because of the Christmas holidays and everything coming up. But it is busy. The Listowel Cyclones opened their new arena last weekend. Obviously, that was one of the big stories in junior hockey, playing at this new Steve Kerr Memorial Complex.
And it was a big game.
It was a huge game, for sure it was. They were playing Stratford, so Listowel went into Stratford last Friday night. They beat them at the Allman Arena, and then Saturday night was the new rink opening in Listowel. It's a beautiful facility, by the way. If you haven't been up to Listowel to check out this Steve Kerr, it's fantastic. And the dressing room, like the Cyclones, the dressing room is unbelievable. You walk in there, they've got a big lit logo on the ceiling.
I saw you tweeted out or Instagram the photo of it or whatever. It kind of looked like the pro hockey. You know how they all had their sweaters hanging, and it sort of looked like the NHL.
Yeah, they had a huge crowd there last Saturday night. They beat Stratford, and Listowel and Stratford right now are the top two teams in the Midwestern Conference of the Greater Ontario Junior Hockey League. So sort of a statement weekend for Listowel. Jacob Lee, Caleb Warren, all of them having great weekends. Chase Herfert's another kid who's been a great player for the Cyclones. They've won 9 in a row, and they're playing really, really well. A lot of people saying that they're going to be tough to beat when it gets down to the playoffs. But if there's one thing I've learned in Junior B hockey, that any team can win on any given night. Want to say a shout out to the Guelph Hurricanes. They've had a bit of a rough go of it the last little while, but they got a win last night on home ice, and it's just good to see. When teams struggle, it's unfortunate, and they've had some bumps in the road in Guelph over the last couple of weeks, but last night on home ice, they were able to beat the Sugar Kings 2-1. So good win for Guelph. Hopefully sort of it gets them, back on the right track going into the second half of the season. Obviously, everybody's starting to think about Christmas and having a few days off, but, Listowel, one of the top teams in the league, and hopefully for Guelph, they can, get things rolling here. Kitchener Dutchman playing really, really well lately as well. They went into Elmira and they beat the Sugar Kings last Sunday afternoon. 519 Sports Online was able to make it to that hockey game, so there's some highlights on YouTube if you want to check those out. But Kitchener playing well lately. Waterloo Siskins playing well. They got a bunch of character guys on their hockey team. Zach Leonard, Sam Cherry, good kids, and it'll be interesting to see what they can do in the second half. I guess the moral of the story, and what I'm really trying to get at, is the fact that, anything can happen, and that's part of the reason that I've always really enjoyed covering local sports. Sometimes when you get into the pros and, you kind of have an idea of what's going to happen. What we forget when it comes to, high school sports, junior hockey, and even university sports to some degree, these are young athletes and anything can happen. When you're 16 to 20 years old, your mood and your momentum can change like that.
And your body, you can grow 5 inches in a year.
That's it, right?
So it's kind of and you know what? Even just the turnover, like in the pros, you'll get the same sort of face on your team for 20 years in a row, and okay, well they're going to be great for
for
10
sure.
of them for sure.
For sure.
But the turnover rate, what do you get? 3-4 years with a team, and
that's it.
And then it's a whole new bunch of kids.
I was talking to Scott McLaughlin, who's the Grand River Renegades boys hockey coach, and they've been a powerhouse. Way back, Brian Miller was the coach. Feels like forever, and Grand River, they've been great the last for a long time. They lost something like 10 or 11 kids to graduation this year. Right? And that just makes it tough. And you've seen it with the Kitchener Rangers too. After the 2008 Memorial Cup, which was hosted here in Kitchener, the Rangers had built that team. They had Justin Acevedo and Matt Halischuk and Nick Spalling, Josh Eunice. They traded for Steve Mason, Nazem Kadri, Matt Pepe on that 2008 team. And in 2009, it was simply a case of the Rangers went for it that year, so the cupboards were bare.
Yeah.
The next year.
And it's sort of the same in the pros as well, right? Where you just they're rental players, you stack up
Absolutely.
from the last year and then see what you can do and then you suffer the consequences.
And that's
later.
why Trade Center, right, has become the trade deadline has become such a big deal because a lot of teams build for right now, and the thing in professional sports is win right now.
It's funny, you hear it's like a stock market. You're a buyer or you're a seller. If you're not doing well, then forget it.
And I'll tell you this though, like when we get around the trade deadline, and this is referring more to junior hockey than anything else, because St. David isn't trading their quarterback to resurrection. Right, there's no trade deadline in high school sports.
Right. Yeah. There's no trading in high school
there's no trading in high school sports. But when you get into the beginning of January, you see like these general managers in the Junior B League, they're talking all the time. They're always trying to improve their team because you never really know. I remember going back to the 2014 Waterloo Siskins. They ended up being the Cherry Cup champions. They had struggled for a while. They made some additions. Off they went. They were down 3-1 in a series in the second round of the Elmira Sugar Kings, and they ended up coming back and winning that series. They won the last 3, and then they went on to win the Cherry Cup. So, when you look at junior hockey and it gets around the trade deadline, which is the first, second week of January, these guys are always trying to make changes. They're always on it. And you know what? It's important and it's big business, and they do, great things to try and really build the league, and they have. And you're starting to see guys from the local Junior B Loop who are getting NCAA scholarships.
Yeah.
Caleb Pearson is one of the most recent ones. He plays for the Stratford Warriors, and he now got a scholarship to RIT. The RIT Tigers. His teammate earlier this year, a defenseman, Ryan Nicholson, got a scholarship to RIT. So the league is growing, the league is developing, and they're developing great players. And it's fun to watch. If you haven't headed out to a local Junior B rink, you know what? Get out, because the hockey's fantastic, and you know what? There's so much passion on the ice from these kids, and it really, really is fun to watch, James.
Now, obviously coaching is a huge thing. It's from what we've been talking about there, but now scouting is going to be a big thing, and development is a big thing.
Absolutely.
Where would you say, what of those two, is it a 50-50, or do you think it's more important to develop these kids, or more important to get a great scouting system out?
I think both are important now, because there's so many people on each staff now. It's not like it was, 15, 20 years ago where you had one head coach, a couple of assistants, right? These guys now have, scouts in different regions trying to find the best players. And obviously there's some, some rules and regulations about, where you can play based on where you were born and all this kind of stuff. So, take that out of it.
Right.
But, these...
Well, even, let's say you even have a small local area you can take from. There's still scouting involved. Kids at that age don't necessarily know how good they are or where they'll fit in. So finding the persons that's going to fit onto your team is it's a skill, I would say.
And it's about building a team, and a lot of times it's about finding good people and people that fit the mantra of your team. Junior hockey or high school athletics, and all of you should listen to this, it goes by really, really quickly. And you should sit back and enjoy it and enjoy the ride, because you know what? I can't tell you the number of guys that I've interviewed over the years where they turn around and they go, "Holy cow, that's over."
Yeah.
Or I turn around and I think, "Wow, you're in your 5th year already." Right? It just goes by like that.
That's over. It stays with them forever, of course.
It sure does.
But yeah, that episode is over. Now, just talking about all that and the importance of scouting and the importance of coaching, to me, it always brings me back to Ayr and just going back to back and being a great team again. And how the heck does that happen? That coaching staff must be unbelievable.
Yeah, they've done some really, really good things in Ayr, and they have a great program. I think we're seeing a little bit more this year. And again, based on just graduation from what we talked about just a minute ago, I don't want to say Ayr's taken a step back, but I think the rest of the league has not caught up to Ayr, but they're moving in that direction, right? Ayr took over first place last night. They won a game on home ice at the North Dumfries Community Center, and they moved back into first place. But Tavistock, the Braves, they're right there. They have a game in hand on Ayr, and Tavistock with a win tonight, guess where they're going to go? Back into first place. So the league's a lot more level this year, certainly, than it has been. And I'm referring specifically to the Doherty division. You know, you start getting into, the Schmalz Cup playoffs and this kind of stuff. And yeah, there's a lot of the Essex 73s have been one of the powerhouse teams in overall junior C hockey for
years.
For
if you go
years.
Back into the past, they've won it here and there.
Well, the Ayr Centennials and Grimsby Peach Kings, right? They've had a great running battle for a lot of years. They've played some fun games to watch. But you know what? Ayr's got a quality program. They do great things over there. They take care of their players. They have a great coaching staff. Tim Barry, who's one of the assistant coaches, has been really ahead of the curve, I would say, in terms of social media. The Ayr Centennials have one of the best social media accounts out there through their Instagram and through their Twitter. They do a great job. The Paris Mounties. There's another team that we haven't. They've been sort of flying under the radar a little bit in the last month or two. They're playing their best hockey of the season. Paris has just been great. They've won a bunch of games in a row. They're back on home ice tomorrow night facing Delhi at the Brant Sports Complex. Again, we talk about Junior B hockey in the Greater Ontario Junior League, and you've got Listowel, you've got Stratford, Elmira's sort of in that conversation, Waterloo's in that conversation. What can Kitchener do, right? Austin Gabry, there's a guy who bleeds Dutchman, and he's the captain of the hockey team, and he might put the team on his back too. You just don't know. Junior C, exactly the same. You look at the top teams in the league. You got the Ayr Centennials, you got the Tavistock Braves, you got the Woodstock Navy Vets, and you've got the Paris Mounties who are quietly making noise. Davis McLean, their goaltender, he's played great lately. Connor Stokes, there's a lot of guys on that team. Tyler Kress, there's another guy, right? Like they've had really, really good years, and when it gets to playoffs, it's great to watch because you never really know what's going to happen, and one team can pull off an upset. There was a playoff series last year in Junior C between Tavistock and Paris in the first round. Both rinks were filled every night. It went 7 games. It was special. It was fun to watch.
We're going to take a very, very quick break for station identification, and we'll be back with Darren Stevenson. He always has a ton of. Well, there's just too many sports going on.
There's always too many sports going on.
Half an hour here.
And you can watch on Instagram. Don't forget about this. If you want to give us a question on Instagram, go ahead. We just gave you a shout out, Davis McLean and Paris Mounties. Thanks for joining in and watching, and check it out now.
And if you want to put a face to the name Darren Stevenson, now's your chance. Sam, can you go check to see if our guest is here? We were supposed to have a roller derby girl, but she just never showed, and it might be my fault. Okay, we're back now. So we were supposed to have someone from roller derby in. Now, you know how great I am with social media. We're
trying to get you better.
Facebooking back and forth, and okay, great, I'll be there, see you at this time, blah, blah, blah. And so she's not here today, but I didn't reconfirm today, which I wish I had done.
Man.
You know what, we could always have them on at another time, but it was roller derby, which it's always fun.
Something
we have them
unique.
on once a year.
Yep.
And it's pretty cool. Apparently it's like when you get out to the arena, it's just one of those really great, fun events.
For sure.
The girls, I guess, they're tough. They're super tough,
yep.
But then they're very friendly at the end of the game. So it reminds me kind of a rugby feel, where you beat the living heck out of each other, and then afterwards you go and party together, and you're best friends.
I'll tell you what's going to be fun tonight. They only meet a couple of times during the regular season, but the Waterloo Wolves and the Kitchener Junior Rangers played tonight in minor midget hockey at Activa Sportsplex. The last time they played in the regular season was at Rim Park, and Waterloo got them pretty good that night. They beat them by a score of 5-0. So sort of the rematch tonight. If you're looking for a local sporting event to check out tonight, there's nothing better than a Waterloo-Kitchener rivalry, right?
Now, just as a general rule, when you get Waterloo and Kitchener, like, obviously there's going to be a rivalry there. Is it hard-nosed? Do they hate each other all the time, or is it kind of like you're my brother and let's play a good game?
Okay, so not to cut you off, Brady Brzezinski,
yes,
who is a defenseman with the Waterloo Wolves, he said, Darren, are you going to make any predictions tonight? He just said this on Instagram. Are you going to make any predictions?
It better be for him.
I'm going to tell you, I have not made a prediction on the air in 15 years.
Okay.
Because you're just bound to upset somebody.
That's right.
Right? Why would I make a prediction?
Go for it. Maybe they can make it happen.
No, I will not.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right,
there.
so I pick Waterloo, and then the Kitchener guys go, what the heck? If I take Kitchener, the Waterloo guys go, what the heck?
Tell him he's going to score a hat trick. See what happens. You remember Babe Ruth? I'll hit you a home run today, kid. Well, no, I want you to hit me 2.
Brady Brzezinski from Waterloo has scored 2 goals. 2 all season long. He's a defenseman, so he's not expected to score, right? Yeah. But Brady Brzezinski, both of his goals have been game winners.
Game winners.
Game winners.
Well, make your prediction right now.
Absolutely not. The Wolves hosted the Gold Puck tournament last weekend at Rim Park, and Brzezinski, it was 0-0 late in the third period on Sunday morning, and Brzezinski takes this shot from the point. I swear to God, it went off 4 skates, 3 bodies, and somehow trickled across the line. But hey, a goal is a goal, right? A goal is a goal.
You know what? As a defenseman, that's sometimes like an average goal for you. That's the way they come, right?
That's how I scored when I played. Well, I didn't play minor midget hockey, I promise, but in Pee Wee and Adam, that's how I scored.
Yeah.
Just close my eyes, shoot it, and see what happens.
Well, what you're hoping for as a defenseman is an assist, right? You don't want, like, shooting it straight in isn't a good strategy. You want a tip.
Well, and there's nothing better for a defenseman either than the goal of your shift as a defenseman is to not give up a goal.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you leave the ice as a plus, even if you don't get an assist or a goal or whatever, I think the coach would turn around and look at you and say, good job, kid.
Sure, but if you're, like, I mean, if you want to be an offensive-minded defenseman, which is a huge asset in today's game, you really want to be putting that puck towards the middle of the net and letting your skilled wingers and skilled centermen tip that puck into the net.
For sure. And there's
you're
a
not
lot
looking for the goal. You're looking for just a bunch of mess in front of the goalie and just hopefully something happens. So you're looking for the second assist.
Right. No, and I've seen some great defensemen over the years that are offensive defensemen. Ryan Murphy, who used to play for the Rangers, he comes to mind right away. He's made it to the NHL. This is a kid that came out of Toronto. Boy, he was a great puck-moving defenseman with the Rangers, and boy, could he rip it. Right. Man, could he rip it.
Every so often. I actually played with a guy who went to the NHL, and that was his big forte, is scoring goals.
Yeah, and there's a lot of guys. You know, Ryan Merkley's a guy right now with the Guelph Storm. Very high offensive upside. You know, he was the first overall pick in the OHL priority selection draft by the Storm a couple of years ago. And I'm going to be curious to see where that kid lands because he really is a special talent.
Right on. Well, we're going to take, once again, another break. It's getting time where we should get a hold of Dan the Man, see if he's going to have something to say for us, or to us, and then we'll get back to us. And we'll get back, and you've got to do some shout-outs before the end.
I do have to do some shout-outs. I wonder if we can get Adam Kowalik in there somehow.
Well, let's try it out.
Yeah, we'll see.
Can you call Dinesh? Just hit 1. And we're back on with Darren Stevenson. So Darren, thank you very much, by the way. We zoomed right through our, let's see, 20 minutes of our show already.
The show's almost over?
Yeah.
I thought we just got started. we were just starting to get rolling. We were just starting to say good things, James.
You know, I really have to go talk to the station coordinator and make sure. we need 2 hours as long as you're going to be on the show. So maybe we should be a half hour when Darren's not here.
They used to say that when I was on TV. They said I was the ultimate time killer. Right? It's like, I don't know if that's a compliment or not.
Yeah, in every other context, it's like, it's a horrible thing.
But my producer on TV would say, "Oh, I love it. It's great. You know what? If we're 3 minutes under, we'll just let you talk away."
Right. Yeah, what do people tell me at parties? I'm a something killer.
Yeah.
A killjoy, maybe?
Yes, as your wife sits here. There's one other thing that I want to mention on a more serious note, James, and that's the Jacob Ranton Memorial Basketball Tournament. The Ranton family is a wonderful family. Doug, Sandra, and Trevor. Jacob, unfortunately, took his life a number of years ago. So this is the 3rd annual Jacob Ranton Memorial Basketball Tournament. That's starting today at Waterloo Collegiate. There's a couple of games at Blue Vale as well. I've put a link on my Twitter for they do these fundraisers, and obviously there's a silent auction, and they do raise money for suicide prevention in Waterloo region. So support and get out. Mental health matters. Garrett McFadden, a defenseman and captain of the Guelph Storm, is doing great things as well with mental health awareness. He runs McFadden's movement. It's an important subject. It's a difficult subject to talk about sometimes, but I'm sitting here and I'm a big advocate for mental health, obviously having worked for Bell for a long time. Let's just go that way. But yeah, the Jacob Ranton Memorial Basketball Tournament started today. Doug Ranton and Sandra are wonderful people, very great people. Obviously have been through difficulty. It happened around this time of year, around the holidays, around Christmas. So I urge everybody to support the Jacob Ranton Memorial Basketball Tournament. Also check out McFadden's Movement, which is something run by Garrett McFadden of the Guelph Storm, Kincardine native, and they're both doing great work to try to raise awareness for mental health.
It's interesting how people have the strength to do that, right? Turn a major tragedy into something that'll at least be helpful for the community in the future. Not that it'll ever be a good thing. Obviously, it's the opposite. But
no, but you try to. You're right. You try to turn it into a positive, and you know,
history to kind of figure out the future.
And you know what? And hopefully help others.
That's right.
You know what? That's the most important thing in all of it, James.
Very good. And we have on the line with us Dinesh Sachdev. So Dinesh, now that we're done with our Argos, we're done with our Toronto FC. They did have their parade though. Did you show up to that parade, Dinesh?
It's really cold. You don't see me coming into the cold. I precursored all my calls by saying if it's really minus below 6 or 7.
I forgot you were a turtle. I forgot about your cold
oh,
blooded.
That's right.
Your cold bloodedness. That's right, Dinesh. Did you watch it on TV? Did you have a friend who was there?
Yes. You had forgotten. Even though we've lived together for many years, I am not good with the cold. I'm wearing a toque right now.
I think we both know that I don't remember a lot of those days when we were living together.
No, why is that? Why is that?
We didn't talk about the MLS victory. It was all the stars showed up on that day, and the one goal there was every star touched it, and it was just a beaut and great win. Really proud on home turf, 2-0. Dominated the whole game. Really proud of that FC team.
Yeah, for sure. I've been dying. Every week I ask you about the Maple Leafs and the Raptors, and we haven't had a chance. We've been talking Argos, we've been talking soccer. Tell me a little bit. You got to tell me about these.
We're a championship city now. We have 2 championships.
Isn't it crazy?
In a month.
You know what's you know what the strangest thing?
Argos are now being purchased by MLSC. So these are all amazing things that we need to celebrate.
Yeah, the strangest thing of all this, Dinesh, is the thing that really got it going was the Blue Jays. There was this huge excitement when we got Tulowitzki in there, when we got David Price and all that, and everything was Blue Jays, Blue Jays, Blue Jays. And now what's the one team where we're kind of like, yeah, they're the only team that doesn't really have any shot at all?
That's the Blue Jays.
And it's the Blue Jays.
And
now,
I give them 10% to make the playoffs.
Oh gosh! Oh, to make the playoffs, yeah. Oh, it is tough to make the playoffs in baseball, though.
Well, I'm gonna say the Yankees making the big signings certainly doesn't help the Blue Jays in the American League East.
Not that it's unusual for the Yankees, but that's just crazy. I did not expect.
Well, because they have a $1 billion.
That's
right.
Spending $1 billion is what you need. You're making that in TV and tickets.
Right. But let's be honest, they also have the reputation. So they've got the money. They've got the money.
And they don't care about the luxury tax either.
These people are making so much cash towards their end of the career, and when they're getting great, they want to be a Yankee. They want to go off as a Yankee so that they could be part of that you know, part of that whole culture of the Yankees being the best of the best sort of thing. And they want to make these teams just crush it.
For sure.
So
Absolutely.
Okay, Dinesh, I have to ask you a question.
I think the winter meetings were horrible with baseball this year. There's no action. They're driving the prices down. It's really super quiet, and there's so many free agents still waiting that they're just driving all the free agent pricing down. I don't think you're going to see anything happen until January. The Blue Jays, for sure, are just they make no moves.
yeah.
Not one move, and they've got like 5 holes to fill. I don't know what they're going to do.
Well, it sounds like they're in a sell year. I think we're all done with them.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It really is. I'm really disappointed with the Blue Jays right now.
I want to know your reaction. Okay, it's 1-0. They're in stoppage time, and the ball goes off the post, and you go from the extreme I can't believe that didn't go in, and 3 seconds later the ball's in the net for TFC.
Glorious. I think that's like one of the that is the most historic goal in MLS history and definitely the FC history. And I think you've just watched the best MLS team ever assembled. They did it in points, they did it in fan base, and they did it with the championship. It's really impressive. And someone who's a passive fan like me, a passive enthusiast, I'm way more into it because I think the soccer is better to watch.
Yeah, and in soccer, that has to be the toughest sport to guarantee a victory. It's just one of those things.
TFC completely controlled the first half of that game, and it was
game.
But
really,
here's the thing: it was 0-0. Mm-hmm. It was 0-0 at halftime, and everybody was saying, the exact same thing as last year. Are they going to find that goal in the second half?
Right. Last year as well.
Absolutely.
When you have a 1-game final, and you know what, even 2 games leading up through the playoffs, it's not enough. It's not enough to see who the better team is. So it almost seems like a
one
waste.
game.
You could be the best team all the way through.
But isn't that sports though?
It is and it isn't. You don't have a 7-game series.
Right. Would you rather have a 7-game series or would you rather have 1 game? I think in baseball, when I look at the baseball thing, you play 162 games to get to a 1-game wild card.
Yeah.
And maybe your best pitcher isn't available. I kind of go, you played 162 games to lose 1 3-hour baseball game.
True, but the argument is they wouldn't have been there in the first place.
Okay, but what are the ratings for that game?
Oh, yeah, they're huge.
That's the thing, right?
That's
it's 1 game. You spread the ratings out, and maybe I'm talking as a bit of a media guy here, but you spread the ratings out over a 7-game series versus 1 defining game. I haven't seen the numbers from TSN or for TSN, but I bet that audience was huge on Saturday afternoon. Huge.
It was huge. Well, let's see if it beat the Argonauts ratings for the Grey Cup, which is like 4.5 million. It's like the biggest.
It must. I mean, they had.
I don't know.
The Argos didn't even give themselves a parade.
I don't know that they. I don't know they beat.
Both of them are just happening at City Hall. It's not really a parade per se. It's like a celebration.
MLS had something going. The Argos just kind of had a little celebration. But
No, I can't imagine. I think the thing about the CFL too is that the CFL is obviously something that appeals to fans across the country. TFC, I'm not saying it's specific. I'm saying that it's growing, and I think everybody understands that. But I think, I don't think they toppled 4.5 million. I'd be really surprised.
Well, we'll find out. We'll find out very soon enough. We'll continue this discussion in the future and see how it went. But I think that MLSC now buying the Argos is going to change everything there.
Right. So we have to wrap it up with you, Dinesh. Thanks again this week. We'll talk to you next week.
Good talk.
I want to talk Raptors next week. I saw they beat some West Coast teams. They had some close games in the West Coast, which is kind of a new thing this year, where the West Coast is, the East Coast is kind of getting a little bit better. We're giving them a shot, or we're kind of giving them a game.
Next week. They went 2-1 on the West Coast, and the remainder of the year they don't have to go to the West Coast again. So I think it's going to be real, real good for the Raptors in the future.
Right. Well, thank you very much, Dinesh, and we'll talk to you next week. And Darren, real quick, you have some shout-outs that you want to do?
How long do I have?
You got about 40 seconds.
18 seconds.
40 seconds.
All right, Alex Webb from the St. Benedict Saints girls basketball team. Congratulations on being named the District 8 MVP. Ben McAlpine, a great football player from the Brantford Collegiate Mustangs, is committed to Michael Falls and the Laurier Golden Hawks football team. Look forward to covering you next year, Ben, with 519 Sports Online. I quickly want to mention that I've started a blog on the website, just sort of some reflections and some memories of my thoughts covering local sports in the community for the past 12 years. Check it out. And I'm also also going to obviously write about the future and where this is going and the excitement I have for 519 Sports. And lastly, like I said, great hockey games tonight. Always lots going on in Junior B and Junior C. And the Waterloo Wolves visiting the Kitchener Junior Rangers at Activa at 8 o'clock. So get out and support local sports. Enjoy it, and yeah, we love covering it for you.
We'll catch you every week at 12:45 p.m. on Fridays. I wish we had invited the Guinness Book of World Records out at that. I think we got the most words in than any half-hour show of all time.
We haven't even got started, James. We haven't even got, just like 519 Sports Online, we're just getting started.
That's it. Take care, everyone.
See you guys.